I should have known something was wrong when my daughter-in-law smiled at me across the white tablecloth. Not her usual polite smile. The other one. The one that didn't reach her eyes. But I didn't know. Not yet. I lifted the water glass to my lips, took a sip, and tasted something bitter beneath the lemon slice. That's when the woman at the next table leaned over and whispered 6 words that saved my life. Don't drink that. Get out. Now. Hello? My name is Eleanor Mitchell. Most people call me Ellie. I'm 67 years old, and I live in Portland, Oregon. Not the trendy part with the food carts and vintage shops. The other Portland. The one with houses that remember when this city was smaller, quieter, before everyone decided it was the place to be. I want to tell you what happened to me. Not because I need sympathy. I don't. But because maybe somewhere out there, someone is living my story right now. And they need to know they're not crazy. They need to know they can fight back. Let me start at the beginning. I've lived in the same house for 42 years. A blue Craftsman on Hawthorne, built in 1924. Richard and I bought it when our son Thomas was 3. Back then, you could still afford a house on a teacher's salary. Richard taught history at Lincoln High School. I worked at the county library, the old Central Branch downtown before they tore it down. We were never rich. But we were careful. We saved. We fixed things ourselves. When Richard's father passed, we used that small inheritance to buy 2 commercial properties on Division Street. Nothing fancy. Just brick buildings with good bones. We rented them to a Vietnamese bakery and a used bookstore. Steady income. Reliable tenants. The kind of planning that comes from growing up during lean times. Richard died 3 years ago. Stroke. It was quick, thank God. He didn't suffer. I did. The house felt too big after he left. Too quiet. I kept his coffee mug on the counter for 6 months before I could put it away. But I didn't fall apart. My mother raised me not to fall apart. Eleanor, she used to say, crying is fine. But you cry, you wash your face, and then you decide what to do next. So I decided. I kept the house. Kept the rental properties. Kept myself busy with the garden, with my book club, with Friday morning coffee at Helen's Cafe where the owner knew my order before I sat down. Cappuccino, extra foam, cinnamon on top. I wasn't lonely. I had friends. I had Joan, Richard's sister, who called every Sunday like clockwork. I had my routines, my independence. I was fine. Or so I thought. Thomas is my only child. He's 43 now. Works as an accountant at some firm downtown with a name so long I can never remember all of it. He married Claire 6 years ago. She's 39. Real estate agent. The kind who always looks perfect. Perfect hair, perfect nails, perfect smile in all those photos on bus benches and shopping carts. Claire Morrison, your dream home specialist. The first time Thomas brought her home, she brought me orchids. White ones in a ceramic pot. She called me, Mom, by the second visit. She remembered my birthday. She texted me articles about gardening. She was, by every measure, the perfect daughter-in-law. Richard liked her. She's sharp, he said. Got her head on straight. I wanted to like her. I really did. But something always felt off. Like when you put on a sweater inside out. It looks fine, but it doesn't feel right against your skin. I couldn't name it. I just knew that when Claire hugged me, her hands never quite touched my back. And when she laughed at Thomas's jokes, she watched me watching her. After Richard died, she got more attentive. Called more often. Just checking in on you, Mom. Stopped by with groceries I didn't ask for. Started pointing out things. Little things. Did you mean to leave the stove on, Mom? You told me that story already, remember? Maybe we should talk about getting you some help around the house. I told myself she was being caring. Concerned. I told myself a lot of things. 6 months ago, everything changed. Thomas and Claire started coming over more. Then they started staying over. Then one Tuesday, they arrived with suitcases. Just until we figure out the condo situation, Claire said, already hanging her coats in my hallway closet. But the condo situation never got figured out. And suddenly, I couldn't find my car keys. My reading glasses kept disappearing. Bills I knew I'd paid showed up as overdue. Thomas started going to my doctor appointments with me, answering questions before I could open my mouth. And the pills. New pills that made me foggy. That made the days blur together like watercolors running in rain. I started to wonder if I was losing my mind. Last week, Claire called me. Her voice was soft, apologetic. Mom, I know things have been tense. I want to fix that. Let me take you to lunch. Somewhere nice. Might treat. She named a restaurant in Seattle. The Harborview Room. 2 hours north. I didn't want to go. But Thomas stood in my kitchen doorway, hands in his pockets, not quite meeting my eyes. Please, Mom. For me. So I said yes. I put on my good blue dress, the one Richard always liked. I let Claire drive. I made small talk for 2 hours up I-5 while my stomach churned with something I couldn't name. Not yet. We sat by the window. The Seattle skyline glittered across the water like broken glass. Claire ordered for both of us. Smiled across the white tablecloth. And poured me a glass of water from the crystal pitcher, adding a slice of lemon with her perfectly manicured fingers. To new beginnings, she said. I lifted the glass. I drank. And then I tasted it. Bitter. Wrong. That's when everything changed. That's when the woman at the next table, the one with the gray braid and kind eyes, wearing scrubs under her jacket, leaned over and whispered those 6 words. Don't drink that. Get out. Now. I didn't go back home that day. The woman in scrubs, her name was Grace, walked me to the bathroom. My legs shook. My hands couldn't work the lock. She did it for me. Then she opened the window, the small one above the toilet, and looked at me with those steady nurse eyes. Can you climb through? I'm 67. I have arthritis in my left knee. I haven't climbed through a window since I was 12 years old. Yes, I said. She boosted me up. I squeezed through, scraping my hip on the frame, landing hard in the alley behind the restaurant. Grace passed me her jacket through the window. Then she pressed 2 20s into my hand. Taxi stand, 1 block east. Don't go home yet. Go somewhere safe. I ran. Well, I moved as fast as a woman my age can move in kitten heels on wet pavement. Got in a taxi. Gave him Joan's address in Tacoma. Didn't look back. In the back of that cab, hands trembling, dress torn at the hem, I finally let myself think it. My daughter-in-law just tried to kill me. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You need to understand how it started. How I let them in. It was February, 3 months after Richard's funeral. The rain that month was relentless. The kind that gets into your bones and stays there. Thomas came over on a Tuesday evening. Alone. That should have been my first sign. Claire always came with him. Mom, we need to talk. He sat at my kitchen table, the one Richard built from salvaged oak. He wouldn't look at me. Just turned his coffee mug in circles on the placemat. Claire and I are worried about you. I'm fine, Thomas. You're not eating right. The house is too much for you. You're here all alone. I like being alone. What if you fall? What if something happens? I poured myself coffee. Didn't offer him more. I've lived in this house for 42 years. I think I can manage. He finally looked up. What if you can't? They moved in the following week. Just temporarily, Claire said, carrying in her suitcase, her hanging bags, her boxes of shoes. Until we sort out our condo situation. The tenants aren't leaving when they said they would. I didn't remember them having tenants. But Claire said it so confidently, with that perfect smile, and Thomas nodded along, so I thought maybe I'd forgotten. That was the first crack. That little moment of doubt. The second came 3 days later. I was looking for my car keys. I always kept them in the blue bowl by the front door. Always. 42 years of habit. They weren't there. I checked my purse, my coat pockets, the kitchen counter. Nothing. Looking for something, Mom? Claire stood in the doorway, coffee cup in hand. She was dressed for work already. Cream blouse, pencil skirt, heels that clicked on my hardwood floors. My keys. Oh, I moved them. She walked to the kitchen drawer, the one where I kept the dish towels, and pulled them out. They're safer here. You kept leaving them where anyone could grab them through the mail slot. My mail slot is 4 inches wide. You couldn't fit keys through it if you tried. But I didn't say that. I took my keys and thanked her. After that, things started moving. My reading glasses, always on my nightstand, started appearing in the bathroom, the kitchen, once in the garage. You must be carrying them around, Mom, Thomas said. You're getting forgetful. My medication bottles. I kept them in the medicine cabinet, organized by the time of day. Claire rearranged them. This is easier to remember, she said. Color-coded. But they weren't color-coded. They were just scrambled. Then the pills themselves changed. The pharmacy updated your prescription, Claire told me one morning, handing me a small white tablet I'd never seen before. Doctor's orders. I didn't see the doctor. Thomas took care of it. You know how busy you've been. I hadn't been busy. I'd been home. Same as always. But I took the pill. Within a week, I couldn't think straight. Everything felt wrapped in cotton. I'd lose time. Sit down to read the newspaper and suddenly it was dark outside. I'd go to make lunch and find dinner already cooking on the stove. You made that this morning, Mom, Claire would say. Remember? I didn't remember. They started going through my papers. I found Thomas in Richard's study one night, file folders spread across the desk. What are you doing? He startled. Actually jumped. Mom, I didn't hear you. I'm just organizing your financial documents. Some of these bills are overdue. I pay my bills. I know you think you do. His voice was gentle, patient, the voice you use with children. But look. He showed me a statement from the power company. Past due. 60 days. I'd paid that bill. I remembered paying it. Didn't I? It's okay, Mom. That's why we're here. To help. 2 weeks later, they called a family meeting. Joan came down from Tacoma. Thomas and Claire sat on my couch like they owned it. I sat in Richard's chair, the leather one that still smelled like his aftershave if you pressed your face into it at night. "We think it's time to make some changes," Claire began. She had papers. A folder. "Professional. Prepared. Mom's memory issues are getting worse," Thomas said. "She's forgetting to eat. Forgetting pills. Bills aren't getting paid." Joan looked at me. Really looked. "Ellie? Is this true?" I opened my mouth. Closed it. What could I say? I'd found the cereal in the refrigerator yesterday. I didn't remember putting it there. But it was my cereal. My handwriting on the grocery list. "We think a care facility might be best," Claire continued. "Just part-time at first. Assisted living. Nice place. We've already looked at a few." "No." The word came out harder than I meant it. "Mom, be reasonable," Thomas said. "This is my house. And we want you to keep it," Claire said smoothly. "That's why we need to set up power of attorney. So Thomas can manage things while you're getting the care you need. Just temporary. Just until you're feeling better." She slid papers across the coffee table. Legal forms. Places marked with little sticky arrows. "Sign here. Initial here." Joan stood up. "This is too fast." "With all due respect, Joan, this is family business," Claire said. Still smiling. Still perfect. "Ellie is my family. Of course. We're all just trying to do what's best for Mom." I looked at the papers. At Thomas, who wouldn't meet my eyes. At Claire with her perfectly styled hair and her perfectly manicured nails. At Joan, standing like a pillar beside Richard's bookshelf. "I need time to think," I said. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The house made its familiar sounds. The radiator clicking. The oak tree branch tapping the window. Sounds I'd heard for 42 years. But now they felt different. Wrong. Like I was a stranger in my own home. Maybe I was losing my mind. Maybe the pills and the missing keys and the unpaid bills were all me. Maybe 67 was when it started. When everything you'd built began to crumble. Or maybe I got out of bed. Went to the bathroom. Took out the pill bottle Claire had given me. The white tablets that made everything foggy. I looked at the label. It was my name. My doctor's name. Everything looked right. I opened the bottle. Took out one pill. Held it up to the light. It looked wrong. Thicker than my usual medication. Different shade when you looked close. I wrapped it in tissue. Put it in my jewelry box, under the watch Richard gave me for our 20th anniversary. Then I went back to bed and made a decision. I wasn't going to take the pills anymore. I was going to pretend to take them. And I was going to watch. Really watch. Because if I was losing my mind, I needed to know. And if I wasn't, then someone was trying to make me think I was. And I needed to know that too. Outside, the rain kept falling. Inside, I lay very still and listened to footsteps in the hallway. Claire's heels, even at midnight, clicking across my floors. Going into Richard's study. Closing the door. The lock turning. I stopped taking the pills on a Wednesday. That morning, Claire handed me the white tablet with my coffee, same as always. I put it in my mouth. Took a sip of water. Smiled. Said thank you. Then I went to the bathroom and spit it into my hand. I wrapped it in toilet paper and buried it at the bottom of the trash can, under the tissues and cotton balls. Later, when everyone was out, I'd add it to my collection in the jewelry box. Evidence. That's what I was gathering. Though I didn't know yet what I'd do with it. The fog lifted within 2 days. It was like someone had turned on a light in a dark room. Suddenly I could think, could remember. The cotton feeling in my head disappeared. Time stopped jumping forward in strange leaps. And I started to see. Really see. Thursday morning, I watched Claire move my purse from the chair to the coat closet while I was in the bathroom. When I came out and asked where it was, she looked concerned. "You put it away, Mom. In the closet, remember?" "Of course," I said. "Sorry, my mistake." But it wasn't. Friday, Thomas paid my water bill on his laptop while I made breakfast. I saw him do it. But Saturday, an overdue notice arrived in the mail. The same bill. Due again. "Mom, did you already pay this?" he asked, holding up the notice. "I thought you did. Yesterday." He shook his head, showed me his bank statement on his phone. No record of the payment. "You must have dreamed it. The stress is getting to you." But I'd seen him type in my account number. I'd watched him click submit. Sunday, I found my reading glasses in the refrigerator. Behind the milk. I had not put them there. It happened on Monday night. I took the pill at dinner. Made a show of swallowing it. Complained about being tired. Said I was going to bed early. "Sleep well, Mom," Claire said. Too sweet. Too perfect. I went upstairs. Put on my nightgown. Got into bed. Turned off the light. Then I waited. Around 11, I heard them. Voices downstairs. I got up. Moved to my bedroom door, the one that opens onto the upstairs hallway. The old floorboards creak, so I stayed on the rug runner Richard installed 20 years ago. Pressed myself against the wall. Their voices drifted up from the living room. My living room. In my house. How much longer? That was Thomas. He sounded tired. Strained. "We're close. Claire. Calm. In control. Dr. Steinberg will sign the competency evaluation next week. I already have the papers drawn up. What if she won't sign the power of attorney? She will. Or we'll have her declared incompetent and get guardianship. Either way, Thomas, we need to move fast. Those people in Phoenix are not patient." Phoenix. The word hung in the air. "I know." Thomas's voice cracked. "I know. She's my mother, Claire. And she has $2 million in property that's just sitting there while you owe $500,000 to people who break kneecaps." Claire's voice got harder. Sharper. "We've been over this. The house, the 2 commercial buildings. We sell it all, pay your debt, and we're clear. Free." My hand went to my mouth. $500,000. Gambling debt. What about Mom? Where does she go? Evergreen Hills. Nice place. Full-time care. She'll be fine. She'll know. She'll fight. She won't. Not once drive. Steinberg's evaluation is official. And we have plenty of evidence. The unpaid bills. The confusion. That night we staged when she wandered outside in her pajamas and Mrs. Chen called us. It's all documented. I pressed harder against the wall. I had never wandered outside. I'd gone to get the mail. At 7 in the evening. Fully dressed. But Mrs. Chen, my neighbor, had looked at me strangely the next day. Asked if I was feeling all right. They'd told her something different. Made it something different. "The buyers for the commercial properties are ready," Claire continued. "I have them lined up. Cash offers. We can close in 30 days once we have control. And the house? Empty it out. Stage it. List it high. This neighborhood is hot right now. We'll get asking price, maybe more. She grew up in this house. Dad died here. Thomas. Claire's voice changed. Softer now. Dangerously soft. Do you want to explain to Sergey's people why you can't pay? Do you want them coming for our house? For me? Silence. I didn't think so. This is the only way. Your mother is old. She's lived a good life. This is just helping her transition, helping us survive. More silence. Then Thomas, barely a whisper, when? 2 weeks. Dr. Steinberg signs the evaluation Friday. Family hearing the following Monday. By end of month, we have full control. I heard footsteps. I moved back from the door. Got into bed. Pulled the covers up. Lay very still. My heart pounded so hard I thought they'd hear it from downstairs. My son. My only child. The boy I'd rocked to sleep. Taught to ride a bike. Sent to college with money we'd saved for 18 years. He was going to take everything. Put me away. Erase me. I didn't sleep that night. At 6 in the morning, I heard Thomas's car leave. He always left early on Tuesdays. Client meetings. At 7:15, Claire's heels clicked down the hallway. She knocked on my door. Mom? You awake? I'm heading to a showing. Be back this afternoon. Okay, dear, I called out. Voice sleepy. Compliant. Her car pulled away 10 minutes later. I got up. Got dressed. Found my old cell phone, the one I'd used before Claire convinced me I needed a simpler flip phone for seniors. I'd kept it in a drawer. It still worked. I called Joan. She answered on the second ring. Ellie? What's wrong? Can you come over? Now? Don't tell anyone. I'm leaving in 5 minutes. Joan had her own key. Richard gave it to her years ago. She let herself in the back door. I was sitting at the kitchen table. Hands shaking. I'd made coffee but couldn't drink it. She took one look at me and sat down. Tell me. I told her everything. The pills. The missing keys. The overheard conversation. The $500,000. The plan to declare me incompetent and sell my house. When I finished, Joan didn't look surprised. I knew something was off, she said. I've been watching Claire for months now. The way she talks to you. The way Thomas defers to her on everything. Did you know about the debt? No, but it makes sense now. She pulled out her phone. Started scrolling. Ellie, there's something you need to see. I've been doing research. On Claire. She turned her phone toward me. A news article from Phoenix, Arizona. 3 years old. Local woman accused of elder financial abuse. The photo showed Claire. Younger. Different hair. But definitely her. She did this before, Joan said quietly. To her aunt. Helen Morrison. Moved in with her. Isolated her from friends. Had her declared incompetent. Sold her house and emptied her accounts. By the time anyone realized what was happening, she'd moved to Seattle with $400,000 and a new name. Well, not entirely new. Claire Morrison. That's her aunt's last name. She took it. I stared at the photo. At those same perfect teeth. That same smile. The aunt? Dead 6 months after Claire left. In a state facility. The coffee in my stomach turned to acid. We need a lawyer, Joan said. A good one. Someone who specializes in this. Claire is watching everything. Not this lawyer. Joan made a call. Put it on speaker. A young man's voice answered. Joan. Been wondering when you'd call. Lucas. I need you. Tonight if possible. Text me the address. I'll come after dark. Back door. Who is he? I asked after she hung up. Lucas Park. 35 years old. Specializes in elder law and financial abuse. He's Korean American, sharp as hell, and he works cases like this pro bono when he thinks someone's being screwed over. How do you know him? His grandmother was in my book club. Before she passed, she told me if I ever needed help with, well, with exactly this kind of situation, to call her grandson. We spent the day preparing. Joan helped me gather documents, bank statements, property deeds, medical records, the pills I'd hidden. Everything went into a folder, which went into a grocery bag, which went into Joan's car trunk. At 4, Claire came home. I was in the garden, pulling weeds. Looking peaceful. Looking foggy. Hi, Mom. Good day? Very nice, dear. Joan stopped by earlier. We had tea. Oh. Something flickered across her face. What did you talk about? I don't remember exactly. You know how it is. I smiled. Vague. Confused. She relaxed. Well, time for your evening pill. I took it. Thanked her. Went upstairs. Spit it out. At 10 o'clock, the back doorbell rang. Just once. Soft. Joan was already there. She'd come back after dark, parked 3 blocks away. I opened the door. A young man stood there. Jeans. Hoodie. Backpack. He looked like a college student, not a lawyer. Mrs. Mitchell, he said quietly. I'm Lucas Park. I'm here to help you take your life back. He stepped inside. I closed the door behind him. And for the first time in 6 months, I felt something I'd almost forgotten. Hope. Lucas Park sat at my kitchen table with a digital recorder, a legal pad, and the kind of calm that made me trust him immediately. Tell me everything, he said. From the beginning. Don't leave anything out. It was past midnight. Claire and Thomas were asleep upstairs. Joan stood guard at the bottom of the stairs, watching for any movement. I told him. All of it. He didn't interrupt. Just took notes. When I got to the part about the pills, he stopped writing. Do you still have them? I brought down the jewelry box. Opened it. 12 white tablets wrapped in tissue paper. Lucas pulled out a small plastic bag. Evidence bag. He sealed the pills inside. Labeled it. Dated it. We'll send these to a lab tomorrow. If they're not what they're supposed to be, that's drugging without consent. That's assault. The word hung in the air. Assault. My daughter-in-law had assaulted me. Bank statements, Lucas said. Property deeds. Any financial documents you have. I need to see everything. We went to Richard's study. The door was locked. She locks it now, I whispered. Started 3 weeks ago. Do you have a key? It's my house. I have keys to everything. I retrieved the spare from my bedroom, the one I'd hidden in the lining of my winter coat after Claire started moving things. The study looked different. Claire had rearranged it. Richard's books were gone from the shelves. In their place real estate manuals, legal guides, estate planning books. Lucas went straight to the file cabinet. Pulled out folders. Jesus, he muttered. What? He showed me. Bank statements. My accounts. Highlighted transactions. $15,000. Withdrawn. March 12th. 20,000. April 3rd. 35,000. April 28th. All transfers. All to accounts I didn't recognize. These account numbers, Lucas said. I'll run them tomorrow. But I'm willing to bet they belong to Thomas or Claire. My hands shook. That's $70,000. That's what we can see. There's probably more. He photographed everything. Every page. Every statement. His phone camera clicked in the darkness like a metronome counting down. We moved to the kitchen. Lucas spread papers across the table. "Here's what we're going to do," he said. "First, tomorrow you're seeing my doctor. Dr. Rachel Kim. She's going to do a full cognitive evaluation. Memory tests. Mental acuity. Everything. That evaluation will prove you're competent." "What about Dr. Steinberg? The one Claire mentioned?" "Bought and paid for. I've seen him before. He signs whatever people want for the right price. We'll deal with him later." Joan leaned forward. "What else?" "We change all the passwords. Bank accounts. Email. Everything. Tonight. Right now." "Claire will notice," I said. "Good. Let her notice. She'll think it's you being confused. Forgetting your own passwords. It'll fit her narrative. Meanwhile, you'll have control again." He pulled out a laptop. Helped me log into my bank. We changed everything. Created new security questions. Enabled two-factor authentication on my phone, the old one Claire didn't know about. With each password change, I felt something shift. Like taking back pieces of myself. "Now comes the hard part," Lucas said. "You have to pretend. For the next 2 weeks, you have to be exactly what they think you are. Confused. Forgetful. Compliant. I can do that. Take the pills. But spit them out. Keep collecting them. We need more for evidence. The lab results will take a week." "What about the bank transfers? Can we stop them?" "Already done. I've frozen your accounts pending investigation. They can't touch anything now. But they don't know that yet." Joan smiled. Actually smiled. "They're going to try to access the money and find out they can't." "Exactly. And when they do, they'll panic. Panicked people make mistakes." It happened 3 days later. I was in the garden. Pretending to be confused about which plants were weeds. Claire came out, phone in her hand. Her face was tight. "Mom, did you change your bank passwords?" "What? No. Why would I do that?" "The bank called. They said there was suspicious activity. Someone changed all your security settings." I stood up, brushed dirt from my hands. Let my face show confusion. "I don't understand." "Neither do I." Her voice had an edge now. "Did Joan help you with anything? Financially?" "Joan? No. We had tea. Just tea." "Yes, dear. Just tea." She stared at me. I held her gaze. Let my eyes be empty. "Foggy." She turned and walked back inside. Slammed the door. That night, I heard them arguing upstairs. "Someone is helping her," Claire hissed. "This doesn't just happen. Maybe she really did it herself. Maybe she's having a lucid period." "For 3 days?" "No. Someone got to her. I think it's Joan." "What do? "We move faster. I'm calling Dr. Steinberg tomorrow. We do the evaluation early. Then we file for emergency guardianship." "That's risky. We're out of time, Thomas. We need control now." Lucas had predicted this. Called it, word for word. "They'll rush," he'd said. "And when they rush, they'll cut corners. They'll get sloppy." The next morning, Claire was sweet again. Too sweet. "Mom, I have good news. Remember we talked about seeing a lawyer? About planning for your future?" "I remember. I didn't, of course. But I played along. Well, I made an appointment. Next Tuesday. With a very good attorney. Mr. Torres. He's going to help us set everything up properly. Make sure you're protected. That's nice, dear. We'll drive up together. You, me, and Thomas. Make a day of it. Maybe have lunch after? I'd like that. She hugged me. I let her. Felt her perfect manicured nails against my back. When she left the room, I texted Lucas on my hidden phone. They made their move. Tuesday. Lawyer named Torres. His reply came 30 seconds later. Torres doesn't exist. I'll be ready. Joan will pick you up Monday night. Play sick Tuesday morning. I'll handle the rest. Joan picked me up at 10 p.m. on Monday. I told Claire I was going to bed early. Headache. Instead, I climbed out the back window. The same window I'd escaped through at the restaurant. Getting better at this. We drove to Lucas's office. Real office this time. Downtown Portland. 10th floor. Inside, Lucas had assembled a team. Dr. Rachel Kim. Small woman. Sharp eyes. Mrs. Mitchell, pleasure to meet you. Let's make sure we have your cognition documented perfectly. She ran tests for 2 hours. Memory. Problem solving. Current events. Math. Reading comprehension. You're sharper than most 40-year-olds, she said when we finished. I'll have the full report by morning. Notarized. A woman in a gray suit introduced herself. Amanda Chen. Deputy District Attorney. Financial Crimes Division. Mr. Park has briefed me on your case. I've been looking into Claire Morrison. Or should I say Claire Henderson? That's her real name. She's wanted in Arizona. My breath caught. Wanted? Warrant for her arrest. Elder abuse. Fraud. Embezzlement. She disappeared before trial. Changed her name. Changed her look. We've been trying to find her for 3 years. Lucas spread photos across the conference table. These are from the Phoenix case. Helen Morrison. Claire's aunt. Look at the pattern. Photo 1 Helen, smiling, healthy, in her home. Photo 2 Helen, confused, signing papers. Photo 3 Empty house. For sale sign. Photo 4 Helen in a nursing home. Thin. Lost. Helen died 6 months after Claire left. Malnutrition and neglect. I felt sick. She's done this before, Amanda said. She'll do it again. Unless we stop her. How? I asked. Lucas smiled. Not a nice smile. A predator's smile. Tuesday, Claire thinks she's taking you to a lawyer's office to sign over power of attorney. To finish the job. But there is no lawyer. Oh, there's a lawyer. Me. In my conference room. And you'll be there. But so will Drive. Kim with your cognitive evaluation. So will Amanda Chen with an arrest warrant. So will a court stenographer to record everything. And Claire? Claire will walk into a room expecting to win. And instead, she'll walk into handcuffs. I went home at 2 a.m. Climbed back through the window. Got into bed. Lay there in the dark. Tomorrow, I would face my daughter-in-law. My son. Tomorrow, I would watch everything fall apart. Or come together. I thought about Richard. About what he'd say. You're stronger than you think, Elle. You always have been. I closed my eyes. Outside my door, I heard footsteps. Claire, checking on me. Making sure I was asleep. Making sure I was compliant. The door opened a crack. Light from the hallway spilled across my face. I kept my breathing slow. Even. The door closed. I opened my eyes in the darkness. Tuesday, I thought. Just hold on until Tuesday. Then we'll see who's really in control. Tuesday morning came too fast and too slow at the same time. I got dressed carefully. The blue dress again. The one Richard liked. The one I'd worn to that lunch in Seattle when Grace saved my life. It felt right to wear it now. Like armor. Claire drove. Thomas sat in the passenger seat. I sat in back. Like a child. Like cargo. You're doing the right thing, Mom, Thomas said without turning around. His voice was flat. Rehearsed. I know, dear. We drove north. Out of Portland. Toward what Claire thought was an attorney's office in a business park off Highway 217. She was chatty. Excited. Mr. Torres is wonderful, Mom. Very experienced with estate planning. This will be so simple. Just a few signatures and everything will be taken care of. That's nice. She met my eyes in the rearview mirror. Smiled. I smiled back. Empty. Trusting. We pulled into the parking lot at 11 a.m. sharp. Lucas's building. Lucas's floor. But Claire didn't know that. The elevator opened. Claire led me down the hallway, checking her phone for the suite number. Here, she said. Suite 1047. She opened the door. The reception area was empty. Professional. Quiet. Hello? Claire called out. Come in, a voice answered. Lucas's voice. Conference room. Straight ahead. Claire took my arm. Guided me forward. Thomas followed. We walked into the conference room. And stopped. Lucas sat at the head of the table. Suit and tie today. Professional. But his eyes were steel. Doctor. Kim sat to his left. Amanda Chen, the prosecutor, to his right. A court stenographer in the corner, fingers already on her machine. And Joan, standing by the window, arms crossed. What is this? Claire's voice went sharp. Her grip on my arm tightened. Mrs. Mitchell, Lucas said, standing. Or should I say Ms. Henderson? Please, have a seat. I don't know what you think you're doing, but we have an appointment with me, Lucas Park, attorney at law, specializing in elder abuse and financial exploitation. He gestured to the chairs. Sit. Or don't. Either way, this conversation is happening. Thomas was pale, frozen in the doorway. Claire's face changed. The mask cracked. Something cold and calculating underneath. Thomas, she said quietly. We're leaving. No one's leaving, Amanda Chen said. She stood. Showed her badge. I'm Deputy District Attorney Amanda Chen. Ms. Henderson, you're under arrest for. This is harassment, Claire snapped. You have no right. Lucas opened a folder. Started reading. March 12. $15,000 withdrawn from Eleanor Mitchell's savings account. Transferred to account ending in 4739. Your account, Claire. I have power of attorney. You have nothing. Mrs. Mitchell never signed over power of attorney. And even if she had, stealing from your ward is still theft. He turned the page. April 3rd, $20,000. April 28th, $35,000. Thomas needed to pay gambling debts. Yes, we know. $500,000 owed to a loan shark named Sergei Volkov in Seattle. We know all of it. Claire's hand dropped from my arm. Doctor. Kim slid a document across the table. Full cognitive evaluation of Eleanor Mitchell. Performed Monday, November 18th. Results Mrs. Mitchell shows no signs of dementia, memory loss, or diminished capacity. She is of sound mind and fully competent to manage her own affairs. That's impossible, Claire said. But her voice wavered. Lucas pulled out another bag. The pills. All 12 of them, now lab tested. These pills. The ones you told Mrs. Mitchell were her heart medication. Lab analysis came back yesterday. They're alprazolam. High dose. You've been drugging her with benzodiazepines for 6 months. That's assault. That's conspiracy. That's elder abuse. Thomas made a sound. Almost a sob. Lucas kept going. Relentless. The unpaid bills you showed her? Fake. Generated by you. The wandering incident with the neighbor? You told Mrs. Chen that Eleanor was confused. But Eleanor was getting her mail. Fully dressed. At 7 p.m. Mrs. Chen has now given a statement saying you lied. You can't prove. We can prove all of it. We have recordings. He pressed play. Claire's voice filled the room. Tinny from my phone speaker, but clear. Crystal clear. The house, the 2 commercial buildings. We sell it all, pay your debt, and we're clear. What about Mom? Where does she go? Evergreen Hills. Full-time care. She'll be fine. Thomas's face crumbled. Amanda Chen stood. 2 police officers entered from a side door. I hadn't even known they were there. Claire Henderson, you're under arrest for elder abuse, financial exploitation, fraud, and conspiracy to commit fraud. You have the right to remain silent. Claire looked at Thomas. Say something. Tell them this is a misunderstanding. Thomas looked at me. Finally looked at me. Our eyes met. I'm sorry, Mom, he whispered. I'm so sorry. The officers put handcuffs on Claire. She fought. Screamed. Called me names I won't repeat here. They led her out. The room went quiet. Thomas stood there, shaking. Tears running down his face. Mom, I didn't. I mean, I knew, but I didn't think. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I stood up. Walked over to him. Lucas started to say something. I held up my hand. He stopped. I looked at my son. The boy who used to bring me dandelions from the yard. Who cried when his goldfish died. Who called me every Sunday for 20 years until he married Claire. You chose, I said quietly. You chose debt over me. Money over your mother. You let her drug me. You watched her gaslight me. You helped her plan to put me away. I was scared. So was I, Thomas. Every single day for 6 months, I was terrified. Terrified I was losing my mind. Terrified I was alone. He sobbed. Dropped into a chair. I stood over him. You're going to get help, I said. For the gambling. For everything. Lucas has the name of a treatment center. You're going to go. You're going to pay back what you stole from me, even if it takes the rest of your life. And maybe, after you've done the work to become the man your father thought you were. Maybe then we can talk. Mom, but not now. Not for a long time. I turned away. Walked to the window where Joan stood. Are you okay? She asked. No, but I will be. It's spring now. The rhododendrons in my garden are blooming. Pink and purple and white. Richard planted them 30 years ago. They've outlasted him. They'll probably outlast me too. Claire is in prison. 3 years. They're also extraditing her to Arizona for the case with her aunt. She'll be there a long time. Dr. Steinberg lost his medical license. Turns out he'd been signing false competency evaluations for years. Other families have come forward. Thomas is at a treatment center in California. He writes me letters. I don't always open them. But I keep them. In a box. In Richard's study. Maybe someday I'll read them all. Maybe someday I'll answer. I sold one of the commercial properties. Not because I had to. Because I wanted to. I used the money to start something. A foundation. The Richard Mitchell Foundation for Elder Protection. We help people like me. People whose families are trying to steal from them. People who are being drugged, manipulated, isolated. Grace Thompson, the nurse who saved me in that restaurant, runs it. She knows this world. She's seen it for 30 years in emergency rooms and nursing homes. We've helped 43 people so far. 43 families torn apart by greed. 43 elderly people who thought they were losing their minds. They weren't losing their minds. They were being robbed. Lucas does the legal work pro bono. Joan volunteers 3 days a week. We're small, but we're making a difference. I'm still in my house. The Blue Craftsman on Hawthorne. 42 years and counting. I still have my Friday coffee at Helen's Cafe. Cappuccino, extra foam, cinnamon on top. I still have my book club. My garden. My life. But I'm different now. I don't trust as easily. I watch people more carefully. I ask more questions. And I tell my story. To anyone who will listen. Because here's what I learned. Getting old doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you stupid. It doesn't mean you deserve to be pushed aside, drugged, stolen from, or forgotten. Your age doesn't define your worth. And if someone is trying to make you feel crazy, confused, incompetent? If someone is moving your things, changing your pills, isolating you from friends? You're not imagining it. Trust yourself. Document everything. Tell someone you trust. Get help. Fight back. Because your life is yours. At 20, at 40, at 67. At 90. It's still yours. Don't let anyone take it from you. I'm still here. In my house. In my garden. Living my life on my terms. And if my story helps even one person recognize what's happening to them, if it helps one person fight back and win, then maybe all of this meant something. Richard used to say, "You're stronger than you think." He was right. And so are you. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps you, or someone you love. If you want to hear more stories like mine, stories about strength, survival, and finding your voice no matter your age, please subscribe to the Grandparents' Memories and Life channel. Hit that like button if this story touched you. And turn on notifications so you never miss another story. We're all in this together. And together, we're stronger than we think. Take care of yourselves. And take care of each other. This is Eleanor Mitchell, signing off. But not giving up. Never giving up.